Hello everyone, here's the Murdoch commentating a game between aTnDarKForce and RAZERiNso. So aTnDarKForce, a very strong Zerg player that I love to watch. I always take the time to watch every single of his replays. He's a very strong player, and lately has shown that he's really in the top game right now. I really like the way he macros, and it just seems that he's improving every time. Every time I watch his replays, I see he's improving even more, trying more strategies. He's very versatile in his play, using different units at different times, always staying ahead of his opponent. So RAZERiNso, a Protoss who sadly I don't really know, which is good. I'm always happy to learn about new talents, or if everybody else listening to me knows about him, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not know anything about this player. And spawning on the 6 o'clock in Metalopolis. Metalopolis, very classic StarCraft 2 map, great map to play in. On aTnDarKForce side, he's starting with an extractor, so that means he's gonna get the speed, the metabolic speed really fast, an early metabolic speed instead of expanding to his natural, which is kind of strange, because usually if you find the Protoss is far from you, you'd usually expand, especially in a map like Metalopolis, where your opponent is so far from you. It seemed that aTnDarKForce wasn't aware that the Protoss was spawning far from him. So that is probably why he didn't take a chance. He didn't want to risk it, and he's going right away for metabolic boost. Is that enough? Yeah, metabolic boost, metabolic speed. So taking one drone away, two drone away, three drones from gas, and researching the boost, and he's gonna expand right after that. As for the Protoss, regular one gateway cybernetic core, we don't know yet if he's gonna go 4 gates or 3 or whatever. If he's getting a second assimilator, that means he's getting sentries really fast. Well, that's not really a surprise to anyone. What we're probably going to see is a bunch of sentries over here. He's going to put a pylon or two and another gateway, get some warp gates, and start expanding. So pretty standard game as Zerg versus Protoss go. Zergling's chasing that puny little probe. I'm sorry for my accent, I'm actually French Canadian, for those who are wondering. So warp gates coming in, sentries. I predicted that one. Yes, I'm so good. Metabolic boost is coming into play. So what we could see, since we see a sentry over here, there's no Zergling rundown that's gonna happen. Even though we have the boost, there's no in hell he's gonna bring a bunch of Zerglings to crush the Zealot and get into the base, as this sentry will simply block it, and the rest of the other sentries that are coming by soon will block them with a few of these overpowered force field. So as you can see, aTnDarKForce scouting with the Overlord just to see if there's no Phoenix coming by. So to see if there's a Stargate. Well, there's the Stargate. That's too bad, because he was scouting with the Overlord. Never got a chance to scout the Stargate, if I'm right. Let's see. Yeah. So no Stargate scout for him. He's gonna have to bring that Overlord back there. So aTnDarKForce concentrating on his economy. I hope he's gonna have the smarts to build something against air, right? Because these Phoenix can be a bitch, you know. You get a bunch again, you about 5 of them, then you can pretty much destroy every single Overlord in your enemy's base. without him having a chance to do anything. Even Hydralisk, unless they're a bunch of you have a bunch of them, they're not really strong enough. So I expect Phoenixes and not Void Rays, because Void Rays would take a really long time to get to the other Dark Force's base. So let's see what he's getting. So Void Rays, well, I was wrong. Nexus Forge coming by, and he's really well protected. You have a few sentries and that's it. And that's how it works with Protoss. You get 2 or 3 sentries and you're well ahead of your opponent when it comes to expanding. You don't even have to be stressed about it unless your opponent is right next to you and has a bunch of roaches. We can see an Evo chamber. That means he scouted. No, he didn't scout the Stargate. He's probably wondering why his opponent only has 2 or 3 sentries. He's probably expecting either a 4 to 5 gates or a bunch of air units. So Evo chamber is probably for prevention, just to make sure that his opponent... Oh, I see. So now he knows that the Void Rays are coming. He's gonna put anti-air right there and right there. Well, I don't know if he will. No, he's just gonna count on his Hydralisk to do the job. Apparently, a bunch of roaches to take care of the ground units. If ever there will be danger coming from his opponent, well, that means ground units attacking. Robotic facility. So just the Protoss Deadball building itself. We're gonna see Colossi, sentries, stalkers, and Void Rays. Usual stuff. So really, for Dark Force, it's time to get that 3rd base. As you can see, he heard me and he started doing it. Bunch of Phoenix, a Void Ray. I hope he's gonna do something about that. Here we see he started doing Hydralisk, started making some. About Hydralisk, don't make too many of them, as Colossi will rape them really fast. So let's see what happens with that. Hydralisk attacking, and of course no match because of the Phoenixes. You see 3 Phoenixes lifting these Hydralisks up in the air. The Void Ray will do the rest. So we're really not scared about Hydralisk. I said that before. To defend against an air attack like that, you need a bunch of Hydralisk. As 2 or 3 is not enough. And as you get a lot of Hydralisk, you find yourself weakened as your opponent goes for Colossi and rapes every single one of them in 2 or 3 rays. So you really have to be to be cautious. You have to take care. Not making too many Hydralisk. So this is the deal with StarCraft 2: is make too many, don't make too many, and worry about your economy. Really, the game is all about economy. Some people seem to not think about that. I mean, it's all about making a bunch of expansions, as opposed to Warcraft 3. When I used to play Warcraft 3, where your units were really important, your heroes and all that stuff. In StarCraft 2, it's all about economy, right? It's like really Americanized, don't you say? Wouldn't you think so? So it's better to do more upgrades and expansions than to not do any at all. Than to worry more about the units you have right now. It's better to think in the future than think in the past. When it comes to StarCraft 2, is what do I want in the future? What kind of units I want? Anyway, we can see Dark Force getting still with his not many Hydralisk. As I said before, concentrating more on his economy, on larva producing. He's gonna make a bunch of larvae, and as soon as he sees that Protoss army coming by, he's gonna counterattack. He hasn't scouted that 3rd expansion coming from the Protoss, and as you can see, he's going to be well protected with a bunch of warp gates and photon cannon. And these Phoenixes are right now existing only to scout and pick off every single overlord that he can find. So apparently that observer is not enough. He needs a bunch of Phoenixes, and I think they paid themselves. These Phoenixes, they did a good job, and they scared the Zerg army away. So now Dark Force is making a bunch of these corruptors just to counterattack the phoenixes, and obviously the